In the early hours of a warm summer morning in Brazil, the sky above Feira de Santana carried a secret, one that would vanish almost as soon as it appeared. But for those who saw it, and for the man who touched it, nothing would ever be the same. In January of 1995, the small farming communities surrounding Feira de Santana in the state of Bahia were settling into their usual quiet routines. But in the days leading up to the 12th, strange lights began to appear in the sky. Witnesses described a silent, black cylinder, hovering motionless over fields. Others saw a strange orb of light, drifting without sound, splitting suddenly into three distinct objects, each darting away in separate directions. No one could explain what they were seeing, and no one could predict what was about to happen. In the very early hours of January 12th, a bright, luminous shape appeared high above the Jaba district. It pulsed, red, then green, moving not across the horizon, but straight down. Witnesses remember how it seemed to fall in total silence, until the ground shook. Seconds later, the power went out, not just in the small neighborhood where it landed, but across dozens of cities, entire regions of Bahia, thrown into darkness. On a farm near Lagoa de Barica, a man named Beto stepped out into that blackout. He was used to the quiet of rural nights, but this was different. The air smelled faintly metallic. There was a strange heat radiating from somewhere ahead. Guided only by the flicker of his lantern, Beto made his way toward the source. And then he saw it. The object was about the size of a Volkswagen Beetle. Metallic, but the surface seemed to shift, camouflaging itself like a living thing. It wasn't like any machine he'd seen. No wings, no rotors. Just a smooth, reflective shell. As Beto approached, a seam opened. A hatch. From within came a thick, viscous substance like oil mixed with jelly. And then, a creature. Beto would later describe it as small, hunched, with claw-like hands. Its skin was strange, somewhere between leather and scales. It moved awkwardly, almost as if the air itself was heavy for it. But there was another figure inside. This one was lifeless, its body thin and frail, with a head slightly larger than expected for its size. Its proportions, wrong, unsettling, like a child that wasn't human. Beto helped the living creature out of the wreckage, carrying it toward his home. It made soft, pitiful sounds, something between a moan and a slow breath. He laid it down gently, unsure what to do next. His instinct was to call for help, but there was no phone signal. The blackout had silenced every line. By sunrise, help came, just not the kind Beto expected. Around 5:30 a.m., military trucks rolled into the area. Some witnesses say they bore markings from the Brazilian army. Others recall naval uniforms. What was clear was that they knew exactly where to go. They surrounded Beto's property. The surviving creature was taken, placed into a large, sealed container. The lifeless body, bagged and loaded into a separate truck. The craft, incredibly light for its size, was lifted onto a flatbed. Before leaving, the soldiers spoke to Beto, and to anyone else who had seen too much. The message was simple. They had seen nothing, and if they valued their safety, they would keep it that way. Later, whispers spread through the community that U.S. satellites had tracked the object before it crashed and had alerted the Brazilian military, that intelligence agencies were involved from the very start, that the blackout had been deliberate. For weeks, nothing appeared in the newspapers. No official reports. No mention of power failures. It was as if the event had been erased. But in the years that followed, fragments of the story began to surface. Ufologists traced witness accounts. Anonymous sources, some claiming to be soldiers involved in the recovery, spoke of what they saw that morning. One described how the surviving being seemed frightened. Its head moved slowly, as if scanning faces. Its breathing shallow, and then it was gone. Many call this the Brazilian Roswell. The similarities are hard to ignore. A crash in a rural area. Non-human entities recovered. Immediate military intervention. And decades of silence. Skeptics argue that the entire story is nothing more than local folklore, a tale grown taller with each telling. They point to the lack of hard evidence, the absence of photographs or official confirmation. But others point to the same absence as proof of a cover-up. In a time before smartphones, before everyone carried a camera in their pocket, a determined military could erase almost every trace. Almost. Even now, people in Jaber remember that night. The light in the sky, the silence, the sudden, suffocating darkness, and the feeling that something had arrived. What fell in Feira de Santana that night? A craft from another world? A secret human experiment gone wrong? Or something else entirely? Whatever it was taken, and somewhere, it still exists.